Who were your parents?
Uh, John and Grace Strayer.
What are their full names?
John Henry Strayer was my father, and Emily Grace Bowen Strayer was my mother.
Now,
Bowen
do you
was her
recall
maiden
who your grandmother and grandfather was on your mom's side?
My mother's father was, I can't remember his name, Frank Letcher Bowen. I did remember. He signed his name Frank L, but L stood for Letcher. And my grandmother was Imogene Scott Bowen, because her maiden name was Scott.
Okay.
And everybody called her Miss Jeannie.
Miss Jeannie, okay.
Yeah.
Now, on your dad's side, Poppy's side,
His father was Albert Leonard Strayer, and his mother, I don't remember her name. I just called her Grandma.
do you remember where she mostly lived at?
Yeah, Grandma and Grandpa Strayer lived in Brunswick, Georgia, where Daddy was born and raised, and lived there all of his life, well, until he married my mother.
Okay, you know how your mom and dad met one another?
I think they were in school together, from what I understand. I know that mother's family was, my grandfather was very well established in the town before he married my grandmother, because he was quite a bit older than her. And so he owned a general store, so it made my mother, her family had considerable more money than the Strayer family did. So I remember Mother telling me that Daddy's sisters did not like her one bit. I guess because Mother's dresses were finer, I don't know, but it beats me. But yep,
Okay.
that's what it was.
Do you remember when your mom and dad got married to one another and where that took place? Can you recall?
Where they were married, unless they were. I know Papa was alive, and I'm assuming it was in Brunswick. I don't really remember what town they were married in, but I remember that she wanted to get married on February 13th, and it was on a Friday, and I'm assuming my Papa was very superstitious, and he absolutely forbid her to be married on Friday the 13th. So the 14th was Valentine's Day, which was on a Saturday. So they got married at 12:01 a.m. Valentine's Day. And they did it.
Wow.
Oh, yes. She was determined. That gives you any indication of my mother's stubbornness.
Oh, yeah.
Guess she got it from her father. I don't know.
So you said that they lived for a time in Brunswick?
Yes.
Okay. How did they come to live at Canal Point?
Well, Mother and Daddy moved from Brunswick here. I don't know. I sometimes wonder, I don't even know if Delilah knows, why they chose Canal Point. I don't even know if Daddy had a job. I don't know if they saw something in a newspaper or somebody said there's great jobs down there. I don't know, but because I remember some of Daddy's early jobs was he worked in a filling station in Canal Point. He drove a Coca-Cola truck. That was during the hurricane of '49, I think. And I know he eventually worked in produce. I remember he worked for Sam Chastain, I think his name was. I know his last name was Chastain. And he would plow fields for him, because I remember watching Woody and Delilah climb up on this building on the roof, and Daddy was somewhere way out in the back behind the mother's house, or their house, plowing, because you could see the dust. And they had a fishing pole with a white handkerchief on it, and they would wave it, and Daddy would come into lunch. When he saw the white flag, he'd just drive the tractor up behind the house and come to lunch.
Okay.
And I couldn't, because I was too little. I couldn't get up there. Mother wouldn't let me.
Tell me who came first in the birth order and what years.
Woody was born in 1938. Now, he was born in Brunswick before Mother and Daddy moved to Canal Point. So he was the first one. And his name was Henry Woodrow. He was named, I think he took Daddy's middle name, and then I don't know where they got Woodrow. And everybody called him Woody. And then Delilah, she was born in Brunswick. And I remember Mother saying she was, I don't know if she said 2 weeks or 6 weeks old when they went to Canal Point. And it was, I don't know how long after that until my grandmother and my Uncle Selma moved to Canal Point to be there near Mother, because Mama was getting older and she needed some help, and my uncle was physically and mentally challenged because he had a high fever and it affected his brain.
Okay. And who came next and what year?
Me. I'm sorry, Delilah was born in 39. I was born in 44 in Pahokee, which it was an old hotel which they turned into a hospital. This is the story my mother gave me. And the doctor that was supposed to deliver me was drunk. He was, unfortunately, the town alcoholic, poor thing. Dr. Young, I can't remember his first name, but anyway, from what I gather, he didn't make it to the birth. The nurse did, the OBGYN nurse in the hospital birthed me. And he came in, I don't know how much later, and told Mother she had a baby girl, which I'm sure she already knew. And then John Richard Dickey was born in 1949, and I remember...
What is his full real name?
John Richard.
John Richard.
Yeah, he was named after Daddy. John was the daddy. And then there was a couple, he was the pastor of the church in Canal Point, the Baptist church that we went to, and his name was Dick Heller. Everybody called him Dick. And his real name was Richard. I don't know what his middle name was, Richard Heller. And Mother, she and my dad became very close friends with Pastor Heller and his wife, can't remember her name. And she decided to name Dickie after him. So that's how Dickie got Richard.
Okay.
So and then that's why his nickname is Dickie, or was. But as he got older, he went by Richard or John.
Do you know the reason why they chose Canal Point?
I would love to find out. When I get to heaven, I'll ask Mother, trust me, or Daddy. Nope, I cannot imagine. It was just a little farming town, really. Most of the people that lived there were farmers. I mean, they owned land around there, or there was local fishermen too. So it was the main jobs there, besides, working in the department store. I think we had a couple there. There was Kahn's department store, and I know there was Royals. There was a sugar mill in Bryant, a small one, and you worked there, or you fished in the lake. You fished for catfish and sold it, or you farmed and worked for one of the farmers. So that was, but it was it was a great little town. Now it's nothing.
Okay.
I don't even know if there's any white people there, Derrick. I'm clueless.
Okay.
Everybody left because there was nothing there. The bank's gone, the hospital's gone, everything's gone.
And this is this is good for records for even grandchildren as well.
Oh, good Lord, yes.
What are some good qualities that you recall from Poppy, your dad?
Oh God, he never met a stranger. You were always welcome in my parents' home, always. He was kind, he was gentle, but he could also be strict. And usually when Daddy said something, we listened and did what he said. He wasn't the main disciplinarian because he worked so much. Because he only got a 9th grade education. I don't even know if he graduated. I think he had to quit school in the 9th grade to help support his family.
Now, I want to put you briefly on pause. You said he only went through and made it to the 9th grade?
Yep.
Now, I'm assuming because of Brunswick, that's where he got his high school schooling.
Yep.
Well, is that the same case for Nanny?
She actually went, she left in the 11th grade.
Really? So
Yeah.
both of them did not get their diploma?
Nope, neither one of them.
So you were sharing with us some of the good qualities. Are there any ones that you could think of?
I mean, he was, besides loving and kind, he wasn't one to show affection.
Let me ask you this: Did he verbally ever say "I love you"?
No, I never heard him say that.
Was there a time that he did?
I mean, it was just an unspoken, it was, he's your father. A father's going to love a child, and that's pretty much what it was. I mean, he would give us things, he would do things for us, but that's pretty much how him and my mother did it. There was never any "I love yous" in my home. Never, that I heard.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I don't even remember my grandmother telling me that.
What are some of the not so good qualities that you saw that your dad possessed?
Derrick, I don't really know of any that. No, he didn't have any. Well, I mean, unfortunately, later in life, he, I think after us kids left, because when we were young, when Daddy was out, if he was, working on the house or building the house, because he actually built our home, and he was out in the afternoon, he would go to the store and buy a beer. And he pretty much had to ask permission because Mother was really strict on no alcohol in the house. And that's the only time I ever saw my father drink, was that one beer. Never, I don't even remember him ever watching him drink two. But unfortunately, I think once we all left home and he had a lot of time on his hands, and then with Woody's death, he went downhill.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Bad.
Speaking of your mom, what are some of the good qualities that you recall about your mom? Tell me.
I mean, she was friendly with everybody. I mean, she had the gift of gab. Oh God, she could talk your ear off. She was a strict disciplinarian, so when Mother said something, we listened. I mean, I knew that she loved me. I knew that she loved us kids. And she too would do things for us. Every Easter we all had new clothes for Easter. That was a given. And, Mother always, I think, well, she loved every holiday, but we really went out for Christmas. And not with money, because we didn't have hardly any, but finding things in nature that we could decorate the house with, whether it was those little red berries that I think they call them Chinese holly. Now they're an invasive plant. But they used to grow wild along the St. Lucie Canal, and we'd go up there and break off these big boughs of this, and they had little red berries all over it. And it was so pretty. And she'd make bouquets out of it, and we'd decorate the house. And pine cones, oh my God, I can't tell you how many pine cones we glittered. Yep, and candles and just different things that we found in nature to make the house pretty.
Now,
Very cheap.
Now, what were some of the qualities that were not so good about your mom, if you recall any? Was she stubborn? Was she hard-headed?
There was a lot of shame in the family, and a lot of shame. And I think that was one way of controlling, not so much. I mean, I guess when I got older and had some therapy, it was like, wow, I didn't realize it. But I'm sure there was a lot of skeletons in closets that we were not aware of. And, it was sad that, things weren't talked about. But they weren't, so it's crazy.
Okay.
But no, I don't think, I can't think of anything, there was nothing that I felt was a downside for either one of my parents.
Well, we've talked about, your parents' background briefly. I want to take some time and spend a little bit of time and about their spiritual upbringing, if what extent now, as far as Poppy, your dad, goes. Do you know what was he raised as a Christian, or did he go to like any? As an example, did his parents take him to any Baptist church? Did anything like that? Do you know what he had as far as spiritual upbringing?
Now, I know that Aunt Mildred, I think she played the piano, and I know there was a Methodist church, Mckinnon, something in Brunswick, that Mother talked a lot, and I know Aunt Annie Bell went there. That was my grandmother's sister. But I don't know what church if my grandparents even went to church. I have no clue. But I know that the girls, they went to church, Daddy's sisters. And I know some of them played the piano. Because I know Aunt Mildred's daughter, I forgot her name, Brenda, she played the piano. And I think some of them played the organ.
Okay.
But as far as mother was raised Methodist. Why she started going to the Baptist, I'm clueless. I have no clue. But no, mother was raised in the Methodist church.
Okay.
But what church Daddy was, I have no clue.
Okay. I know this is a question that's very difficult, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Do you believe your mom and dad ever gave their life to Jesus Christ?
Yes. I know my mother did, and yes, I believe that my father was a Christian. I believe that he's in heaven. No, we don't get to heaven by our good works, but I really believe that he was. Whether God may have a different thing, I don't know, but he certainly didn't, because the things he did were Christian-like. He wasn't mean to anybody. I never saw him get and curse anybody. I never saw my father do that, ever. Now he would, but mother was the cursor in the family. Good heavens. Whew, she cussed like a sailor. Until finally us kids started teasing her about it. And I think we were seeing Uncle Tom Lewis, and Daddy bought her a cuss box. So every time she said a cuss word, she had to put money in it. But it was a bad habit she had. And she eventually broke the habit. But she could put a cussing on anybody. Yep, Delilah remembers that. Cuss like a sailor.
Now, so you shared with us that your mom and dad built that house. Is that right, from the ground up?
Yep.
Now, do you recall what year they purchased that property right off 441?
Well, it was probably, if they moved down there in 39, it would probably have to be I had the deed to it somewhere. It's here in the house somewhere, the deed to the property. The original house, I think they paid $100 for it. I think that was it. And it had a living room, a small kitchen. I remember the living room and the mother and daddy's bedroom more than anything, but I know they had a bedroom, and then I think there was a bedroom off the back. But I think to go to the bathroom, you had to go outside, because I know for a long time, because Daddy even built a shower and a toilet out from the house, and we would go out there and go to the bathroom and take a shower.
We're going to move on to some early memories of between, it could be you and Woody, or you and Delilah, or you and Dickie. What are some early memories that are good that you can recall while living in Canal Point?
If we ever had cousins or friends or anybody, family down to visit, All the kids slept on a pallet on the floor. Damn hard floors. Delilah remembers that. It was given. If anybody came, that you gave up your bed and your butt was on the floor. And we were like lined up against the wall. But we had fun doing it. You know, as kids, you can pretty much take anything. And we'd giggle and laugh, and people would fart under the covers, and the parents would come in and fuss at us, and then when they'd leave, we'd giggle some more. But anyway, that was one of them. Playing hide and go seek after dark until Woody almost cut his little toe off on a old coffee can. But that was a given. We'd make a fire outside and close to behind the house, just like y'all did when y'all were little, you and the girls. And then we'd play hide and go seek. Okay. That was our favorite game, really.
Okay. Were there any traumatic events early on that really impacted you that you can recall? Whether it be a hospitalization, somebody breaking something, those type of things. Can you recall anything that was kind of traumatic?
Well, Woody's toe was, I think, it wasn't that traumatic. He just had to go have it stitched up. But I know that my grandmother having a stroke was really bad. That was the first one. I think I was probably 12, 13, something around that. And that meant that she had to come and live with us because her and Uncle Selma had a small apartment. She lived on the way to Canal Point, and but I think her stroke really turned the whole family upside down because she took over mine and Delilah's room, and then Mother and Daddy gave up their room because the bedroom was bigger, and they put our bed and Woody and Dickie's bed. So all of us kids slept in one room, and then Mother and Daddy took over the boys' room until Mama Ashley got where she could walk holding on to things. There wasn't a walker back then. She had this huge wooden wheelchair. And I remember Delilah could pick her up and throw her over her shoulder and take her over and put her in the chair, not me. I was too young. I was 5 years younger, so I didn't have the strength. And they'd push her around the house, or I don't think she went outside because we didn't have a ramp. But, and unfortunately, I had gone with her to Sarasota because her sisters were, her sister was coming down, Aunt Annie Bell, and they were all meeting at her sisters in Sarasota. So I went with Mama to help take care of her. And there was Aunt Stella, who was Mama's sister, Aunt Annie Bell, and Mama. And we had been there about a week, and she needed to go to the bathroom, so I was helping her. You still had to help her on the bad side. And when she got almost to the door of the bathroom, she fell. Or she just crumpled to the floor and scared the bejesus out of me. And Aunt Stella called the man that was renting the apartment behind her house, and he came and put her in her bed. And Mother drove over and got her, and they put her back in the hospital, and unfortunately that's what, she died after that. But that was probably the most traumatic, that and my uncle dying. He had cancer.
Now, what was your uncle's name?
Selma.
Selma, okay.
Yep, he had kidney cancer.
Okay. Do you recall what year he passed away?
He died maybe a year before my grandmother, and I think I was 13, 14 when Mama died. Something like that.
Okay.
That would have been
1940 something?
Let's see. I was 10 and 54.
54, okay.
So 56, 57.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. And then Mama, watching my grandmother grieve was unbelievable. It was just very heart-wrenching because she had Selma was the youngest male, although there was, I think, 4 other boys, but Mother and Selma were they were the closest. They were the youngest boy.
They had the best relationship.
Exactly.
Okay.
Those two loved each other. Oh my God. And joke and cut up. Oh my Jesus. He'd pick at her and she'd pick at him. Mother would go down to Mama's, and Uncle Selma loved country music, and he'd have it on the radio. Mama didn't care. She'd listen to anything. And Mother would walk in the door. Why are you listening to that damn country station? That's all you do. Dum, 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 dum. Oh, Delilah remembers that. I'm like, oh, he's just listening to music, Mother. But they would pick at each other like that. But, you know, and she would have me, or Mother would have me go in and write letters for Mama because the stroke affected her right side. And I would sit there and write her other sons letters. And, you know, she'd tell me what to write, and I'd write it.
Okay.
And that's how she corresponded with them.
If your dad was sitting right here, what do you think he would say was his most important thing he did in his life?
Raised his children,
Okay.
I would think. He was a good father.
Okay.
And he worked very hard all of his life to provide for his family.
Okay. Now, what about your mom, Nanny? What do you think, if she was sitting here, same question, what was her most important thing she ever accomplished in her life?
Probably the same thing. And, you know, not only raising her 4 children, but being a woman that she was, that she loved the young adults. And I'm sure that a lot of the things she did working with the young adults left impressions on them.
Now, you bring up she worked with young adults. Now, where did she work with young adults at?
In her church.
In a church. Now,
Yep.
Can you recall the name of that church and where it's at?
Canal Point Baptist Church.
Okay.
A wee little church.
I can remember, just me personally, remember from, gosh, that's just me a personal note from like my earliest recollection was probably like 4 or 5 years old, attending Canal Point Baptist. Mm-hmm. And what I remember was it had the traditional wood pews.
Yep.
And it had the traditional, if you were looking at the platform, it would have, on your left side, it would have the women's side of the choir. On the right side, it would have the men's side of the choir. And then if you was to turn around and look up, it would have a loft where people could sit.
There's a balcony up.
I can recall that. And I can recall, you know, going there. But, you know, my memories are kind of limited. But I do remember Nanny, not so much Poppy going there. I can recall maybe once or twice that he went to a service. But more so Nanny and at times yourself. But, so, one of the things I want to get into now is the relationship. What do you think the personalities of your siblings are like, starting off with the oldest?
Woody was very sensitive, had a very sensitive nature. Jay reminds me of Woody more than anybody. He liked to bully, especially us kids. He loved to aggravate Delilah. Oh my God, he would chase her around the house, through the house, with a damn lizard or a frog or whatever he could find, and he was unmerciless. He loved to walk up to you and just punch the hell out of you. And I think a lot of, with Mother growing up with, 6 boys, 5 boys, she was used to the tumble, the way the boys interacted with each other. Well, me being 6 years younger than Woody, he could knock the hell out of me. So I pretty much learned to stay away from Woody. And when Grandmama was alive, if they were in there, if my cousins, Jackie, Jean, whoever, and Delilah and Woody all joined together and they would throw firecrackers in the house, I would go get in Mama's bed, pile up in her hospital bed, and stay there because I knew if they went into Mama's room, Mother would throw them out of the house. She wouldn't even let them forget it. She probably wouldn't let them in to eat. But no, you didn't go into Mama's room and bother her. Shall we continue?
We shall.
Okay, so that was Woody, pretty much in a nutshell. Delilah, she liked to do girl things. Me, I'd rather be outside doing stuff or helping Daddy or doing something else, but anything but in the house because Mother would grab you and want us to do something. So I kind of stayed away from her, but I never had any trouble with Delilah. She always, I knew she was there as a protector. She definitely would protect me. I don't know if, I'm trying to think if she ever defended me from Woody, but no, I don't think, no. Usually if Woody got too rough, Mother would step in, but most of the time. And then Dickie, because I was closer to him, he and I were closer, and then Woody and Delilah were closer because they were pretty much born, 13 months apart. So I was the big sister that pretty much did whatever he asked me to do and go get it or take him this way because I had a driver's license and I could take him and his friends trick-or-treating or take them fishing or take them camping. So that's what my relationship with my younger brother.
Okay, we're going to backtrack a little bit. What was the best memory that you had between you and Uncle Woody? Can you recall?
Best memory.
Yeah, what's the funnest or the best memory that you can recall that y'all shared?
I mean, we pretty much did everything together. One of my unfunniest things was if we would go swimming in the lake, he thought it was his duty to teach me how to swim. And he would take me out, which I thought was in the deep water. Now, if he was standing and holding me, it was deeper than it was too deep for me. And so he had a tendency to just let me go sometime, or I thought he would. So I would usually scream for Mother, and she'd make him bring me back in, but no. But I did eventually learn how to swim. I think, and as a matter of fact, it was Woody that did that. Uncle Albert took us up to the St. Lucie Canal, and we camped on the canal for a week at one of the spillways. And some of their high school friends came out, and they would stand on the edge of the spillway, and the water there was very deep because it was the place where the water would come out of the field and drain into the canal. So they would jump in from this high concrete area, and they had a ball. And then they climb out and come around and jump again. Well, I think Ronnie Hitchcock was there. I don't know if Buddy Edenfield or not, but it was a bunch of them big guys. And I was standing there watching them. I must have been, I wasn't standing right there on the edge, but I must have been close enough. And somebody pushed somebody, and somebody grabbed me, and I went into the water. And, I mean, you can imagine. And I came up, and I just started swimming. Now, I knew the technique of how to do your things. And my sister, Delilah, was ready to jump in after me. My rescuer, that's what she was. She was always there to help me out. And Uncle Albert stopped her, and he said, no, let her swim out. Because I was swimming. I didn't know it. And sure enough, I got over to the edge and swam out. Climbed up the hill, came around, and jumped right back in.
Was there a time that...
So I don't know if I should thank Woody. I think Woody was the one that pushed somebody, and then somebody grabbed me. So I don't know whether to thank him or what, but, that was one of our happiest memories, just, going fishing and camping on the St. Lucie Canal. Those were the good old days. I'm sure Delilah will remember that and remember who was there.
Now, was there anything that between you and Delilah that wasn't so great that you can recall?
No. I was a bride. I was the
Maybe like in an
I was the maid of
event,
honor.
like an event or something that maybe happens that stands out in your mind that wasn't the funnest thing to go through or anything like that?
Well, it was. I mean, her wedding was. All I can do is laugh about that wedding. That was funny. Shall I pretend? Can I tell you about the wedding? Okay, she did her bridesmaids in pastel colors. I remember somebody wore a purple dress, and I think there was a blue, and I had lime green. My mother decided that because I was a dirty blonde, and with my skin complexion, lime green, and green is one of my favorite colors. So anyway, they got your dad in number one, with your dad being Catholic. For some reason, the Baptist that I was raised with felt like that the Catholics were dirt or something. They weren't a part of the religious community. So for them to convert a Catholic into the Baptist religion, and it was very strange. I look back on it and I'm like, I don't understand what that was all about. I remember in college having a girlfriend that was Catholic, but it seemed like some of the Catholics were the same way against the other religions, and maybe I'm wrong, but it was strange because I remember she went to church with me, and it was like, don't tell my mom. Don't tell my mom I went to a Baptist church, and I'm like, why not? Nope, can't do that. So I guess it was this unspoken thing. But anyway, when Mother found out that your dad was Catholic, that was, as the stomach churns. But anyway, she no. If my sister made up her mind, she's going to do it. She's going to do it. So anyway, so Mr. and your grandma and grandpa came, Mr. and Ms. Mckinnon. What was your grandma's name?
Nellie.
Nellie, that's right. And what was your grandpa's?
Duncan.
Duncan?
Duncan L.L. McKinnon.
I don't remember him being called I don't remember anybody calling him Duncan.
Duncan.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
But anyway, so Mother had, they didn't have a meal or anything. She just had, her and Delilah, they had the wedding in Belglade, but they had the reception at the Women's Club in Pahokee. And we had gone down and decorated it, and it was all pretty. And so they had the cake. I don't know where she got the cake from, but anyway, so when we come into, I think there was an area in the back of the Women's Club where you could prepare the food and then bring it out on the table. So when Mother went back there was a wash tub full of beer. I thought my mother would have a cow. Oh my God. I think your grandpa, I don't know, but I'm assuming he got it. Delilah would know, or your dad, I don't know. But anyway, I seriously thought my mother was going to have a heart attack. Oh my God, she was upset. And then on top of that, they brought those little bitty sandwiches. Because all Mother was having was cake and punch. But I'm telling you, it was hilarious. I just sat back, because I was like 15, 16, and I just watched, and it was like unbelievable, the interaction between my mother and all of these people in her church. And there was beer in the kitchen. I'm like, all you could do was laugh, Derrick. Anybody could do if they knew the situation was laugh, because it was so funny. But I don't remember a lot of discussion afterwards, from Mother or anything. I'm sure there was quite a bit to my father, but because Daddy was there, but that was funny. I swear to God. It was funny. And I'm sure your mother knew about it too. Trust me. I'm sure my mother let her know.
I'm sure.
But she wasn't happy.
Moving on, you mentioned Dickie. Now, you said that he was the youngest.
Yes.
Now, we're going and about what was their personality like, and then also what was some of the one or two best memories, and then also maybe an event or something happened that are not the best. Tell us a little bit about Dickie.
Well, I mean, we would play together. He was friends with the couple of boys down the street, David and Alan Hitchcock. And I mean, I was 5 years older, so the one memorable thing that stood out was him and David. David had a motorcycle, or I mean, it wasn't a big one like a Harley or something. It was just a small one. And I remember, I don't know if they'd gone to the movies, I don't know, but Mother let him go somewhere with David. Well, David proceeds to bring him home, and it was late because I'd already gone to bed, and I think it was it was either a Friday or Saturday night, and he comes home drunk. He couldn't hardly walk, and I remember because the guest bathroom separated mine and Delilah's room from Woody and Dickie's room, so both rooms had access.
Right.
So I could hear I mean, if the guys were taking a bath, I could hear them in there. Well, anyway, Daddy proceeds to throw my brother into the shower. And all I could hear was, Daddy, it's cold, Daddy. And my father was saying, good, I want it freezing cold. What do you think you were doing? And all I could hear Dickie crying, it's cold, Daddy, it's cold. But I went, dummy. So shortly after that, I remember Mother and Daddy talking to the pastor at the church, because back then, if you needed a therapist, you went to your pastor.
Kind of like guidance or counseling?
Right. Counseling was you went to your pastor.
Right, okay.
And I guess they had some of that when they were in seminary, I'm not sure.
Sure.
But yeah, I remember Mother, whatever issue was going on. I remember when I was in college. Now, mind you, when I went to college, I spent 4 hours on a school bus. 4 hours. I would meet the bus in Canal Point at 7 o'clock in the morning. We would then we would go from Canal Point to Pahokee, pick up the people in Pahokee. Then we went from Pahokee to Belglade, picked up the people at the Belglade High. Then we went to West Palm Beach, to junior college. And we got there in time for the 9:15 class. So usually we got there around 9-ish. Okay, I think we left because we had to fit our classes in that schedule, and which we did. We were all fortunate that we were able to do that, because the bus left at 3:15 in the afternoon from the college. I didn't get home. Usually Mother would pick me up, or sometimes she'd leave the car. Yeah, I don't remember, but I know that I was picked up, or I got to the Canal Point school around 5 o'clock. So she was concerned that I wasn't doing anything around the house. Well, on days that I went to school, hell no. I was exhausted. Although I usually slept all the way home. But anyway, so she had me go down and talk to the preacher's wife. So, but getting back to the therapist, so soon after that, Dickie, they gave their permission. They signed him to be able to, he wasn't 18 yet, and he enlisted in the Army.
Okay.
Because back then, if you had a wayward son, put him in the Army.
Do you recall what year that happened?
Oh, let's see. Dickie was in high school. Probably 60, well, I started in college in 63. It could have been 63, 64,
Okay.
49, 59, no, let's see, 69, he would have been 20. 68, 67, 66. Because he would have been 20, 19, 18, 17. So about 60, because he was in the Vietnam War. He was stationed over there. I do remember that. And I remember when he graduated from boot camp, I don't know where, was it in Alabama? Your mother and my mother drove up there. I think Daddy went with them to see him graduate from boot camp. I remember that.
Was there anything that was not so fun that you and him went through?
Dickie?
Yeah, that you and him went through.
Oh, Lord.
Did y'all ever fight? Y'all never did
No.
y'all have any like major disagreements?
No,
No.
not us two.
Okay.
We just didn't do that.
I wanna touch on family.
I was frustrated with his drug use. But we didn't fight. Mm-mm.
I want to now touch on family and holidays.
Holidays.
I'm sure there's a lot of things you could share, but for the video, what do you recall some good, great memories of holidays? Was it Easter? Was it Thanksgiving? Was it Christmas? Tell me a little bit about that and what it was like between the siblings and so forth and the parents.
Well, we were raised that you celebrated every holiday very heartily. I mean, we would go all out. So there wasn't very many that either family came to us or we went to family. You know, whether it was all of us gathering at Mother and Daddy's house, or one Christmas it would be at our house in Lake Worth. One Christmas it would be at y'all's house in Miami. I think one Christmas we had it at Betty Ann and Woody's. So we always were together on Christmas.
Okay.
The majority of the Christmases, all of us were together.
What about Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I mean, if I was close to home. Now, when we lived in...
Now, I'm talking about
like,
early years before you got married
Oh.
and everything. What was it like then?
oh my God, Mother cooked, we all cooked. We cooked all day. But oh yeah, we celebrated Thanksgiving. Mother had a turkey and we had all the trimmings.
Okay. Anything,
You know, and if there was-
anything stick out?
Well, the table in the dining room was always full. There was always plenty of people.
Did
and-
your parents ever invite people over for Thanksgiving?
Not that I remember. I mean, no, it was usually just us,
Just
family. Yeah.
Just family. Okay. What about 4th of July? What can you tell us about 4th of July? Was there any particular thing that
4th of
sticks
July,
out in your memory?
as a youngster, they did fireworks at the. They had built. They called it a windbreaker. Anyway, it was this. It was a metal jetty that went out and around the beach there at Pahokee, and they would supposedly it would stop during a hurricane, stop the big waves from, I guess, eroding the shore. I don't know, but it was this huge thing. Most of the time, people just went out there and fished on it, but they would take fireworks to the very end of it and shoot them off. And we'd park our cars. They would have guys out there that would do the cars in lines, start at the top and go right on down to the bottom of the dike. And as soon as it got dark, around 9 o'clock, they'd start shooting them off. And we'd sat there, you know, I remember they would bring that mosquito truck and we'd run with the smoke, we called it. And we'd run behind the truck. I said, it's a miracle not all of us don't have cancer from all that crap. But oh yeah, we played games. We'd see friends from school, and you know, I'm sure Delilah and Woody saw plenty of friends, and they'd go walking with them or hang out with them. And then when the fireworks started, they'd sometimes, you know, come on back to the car. But oh yeah, we always went to the fireworks in Pahokee.
What
and
about
we would have fireworks at the house.
right? What about summer vacations? What about did y'all regularly have summer vacation, or was it sporadic? Or tell me about that.
Well, with Daddy's job taking him north in the summertime, because they don't grow produce in South Florida, we started going to Plymouth, North Carolina. It was north of New Bern. It's a town on the Albemarle Sound, and he worked in produce there. And they met this couple. I think Aunt Audrey, I don't remember if they did another crop or not. I know in Bainbridge he also did rutabagas, but He met Aunt Audrey, and then she invited him and Mother to dinner, and then we met their family. So we became real close with them, a couple there in Plymouth. We probably went, because I remember I was about 8 or 9 when we started going there. And every summer, we'd pack up. We just had one car. Daddy didn't have a truck then. And he had a little trailer that we pulled on the back of the car with all of our suitcases. Because Mother had to take linens because some of the apartments they rented was not furnished. Or they had furniture but not linens and pots and pans. So we had to take that. And with 4 kids, there was no room in the car hardly. So it was just a little trailer Daddy pulled along. And then I guess we were there 4 or 5 years. Then he started going to New Bern. So they either got, and this was every summer, as soon as school was usually over around Uncle Woody's birthday, which was June the 8th. And if we got out of school one day, Mother had been packing for weeks, and we headed out early the next morning for up there, because as soon as Daddy got up there, he was opening up the packing house and getting it ready for the corn crop. So we would meet a lot of friends. In New Bern or Bridgeton, we were on the Neuse River. Well, there was really 2 rivers, Neuse and Trent. And we would crab or fish, and we just met lots of friends. Some of the people that did the same kind of work Daddy did, their families would go there too, and some of them were from Pahokee. So I met the McKinnon kids, and their father, I think he was actually a farmer, but he had a packing house or something up there too. And that's what people did in South Florida. They went to where they grew crops, and then Daddy finally ended up in Bainbridge. But that was like summer camp for us, because there was more to do. Usually we were close to downtown, wherever, whether it was in Plymouth or New Bern, and you could walk to the movies, go shopping, you could do anything. And then usually Mother would take Daddy to work, or he had a company truck or something, and on Saturday mornings we'd go to the farmer's market. Mother would can pickles up and peaches up the wazoo, and so we were always doing something. And then if Daddy didn't have to work on the weekend, we'd head to the beach, because New Bern was about an hour from the coast, and there was it was a huge restaurant, and Sanitation Market was the name of it, and it sat out over the water, and they served the best seafood you could put in your mouth. And we used to get like the captain's platter that had everything: fried oysters, fried shrimp, unbelievable.
Right.
But yeah. But that was our vacation. I mean, movies, we didn't have that in Canal Point. God knows. So yeah, it was like a vacation. Then if Daddy didn't have something major planned to do at the house, repair, whatever, we would head north. When I was 9, we went to Washington, D.C. And I remember going up the Washington Monument. Woody and Delilah climbed every one of them damn stairs and came down it. Me and Mother and Dickie and Daddy rode the elevator. But I remember looking down from the observation thing down on the lawn. But that was amazing. One time we went to Pennsylvania Dutch country. Oh my God, we had so much fun.
What makes it so memorable?
Well, because we did things together as a family.
Okay.
And there was, living in a small town, you didn't have the opportunity that you had when you lived closer to downtown where all the neat things were.
Okay.
So, oh yeah. Okay. Delilah and Woody loved, I'm sure, up there. And then as they got older, they didn't go. They stayed. I know one year they stayed with Mama. But no, they just kind of outgrew it and didn't go anymore.
Okay.
But it was fun. And then one time we went But Daddy would just go different places.
You talked a lot about, you know, your mom and your dad, and then your siblings, and then early life in Canal Point, and your relationship with your siblings and what they were like and all. If your mom and dad were sitting here, what do you think they would be most proud of that Delilah has done in her life?
That she raised those 4 children of hers, and and now her beautiful grandchildren. I mean, any woman in the world to successfully raise 4 children is certainly a big accomplishment in itself, just being a mom.
Okay.
I mean, it's a job that there's no other like it.
Was there any boyfriends that your sister had that you can recall that stuck out in your memory, or any incident that stuck out, such as like that?
Did you read this in a book or something?
No, I'm just recording this because...
Oh, yes, I had a few. I remember one, I don't know where she met him, because I don't remember him in high school, because I was in the 9th grade and your mom was in the 12th grade. So there was one year that we were in the same high school, because I remember I locked my key. You had to get a lock for your locker, and it wasn't a combination, it was a key lock. That might have been before combination locks, I don't know. But anyway, I locked my key in my locker, and I didn't know what to do. So I went and found Delilah. So she was the one that said, we'll go get somebody from maintenance. So she's my rescuer. She was there. But his name was Buck. Don't know his last name, can't remember. And he wore these black horn-rimmed glasses, and I didn't care for him, and I don't know why. I mean, he was always nice to me, but for some reason, and I would call him Frog Eyes. Not to his face, but in reference to him. I don't even know if Delilah knew that, and then the other one that I remember was Jimmy Britt. Was it Jimmy Britt? His last name was Britt. But he was too old for her. And I knew that, and Mother knew that, but I don't think she knew that yet. But thank God your dad came along, because some of the ones she picked out first were... But those are the only 2 outstanding that I remember. Now, I'm sure she had crushes on others, but I don't know anything about those. Oh, who was she seeing? Now, I know that the Kirkharts... they lived in a little house across from the Baptist church in Canal Point, so that's how we met the Kirkhart family, because her and Woody used to go down there, because Woody was friends with Jake. Jake and Woody were pals from
How did
school.
they meet?
When Jake's father retired from the Army, he came down and ran a filling station. When you went into Pahokee, the railroad tracks, there was a small restaurant there called the Tiny Diner, and that's where all of the kids hung out, at the Tiny Diner. I remember one night, Delilah didn't get home when she was supposed to. In other words, if Mother tells you to be home at 11 o'clock, your ass better be in that house at 11 o'clock. And this one particular night it wasn't, and Mother went after her ass and brought her home, because she was at the Tiny Diner and didn't get home in time. And ooh, she weren't happy with Mother, and Mother weren't happy with her. And I believe I remember her exact words to Mother were, "I'll be glad when I get out of this hellhole." I wonder if she remembers that. That was the night I decided, do not make your mother mad. Always let your mother know where you are and what time you're going to be home. So when I would want to stay, if I wanted to go someplace after I got off from work at the hospital, all I had to do was come home, change clothes, leave a note on the freezer, and if Mother got up during the night, she saw my note. And I'd tell her what time I had planned on being home. Or if she needed me, call whether it was Aunt Faye's house or somebody else's house. Oh yeah.
Right.
But I remember that trip. But yeah, that's how they met because Mother taught Jake's younger brother Tim and Sandy and Mary in, I don't know if it was Bible school or Sunday school, but one of them. Now, I don't think their parents went to church, but I know that the children did. Miss Kirkhart would send the kids, but that's how we met the family. Jake was in the same grade I was. Evelyn, she was a few years older than Jake. She and Delilah were really good friends, and they double dated together. But I don't remember who Delilah was dating at the time. Because I think the guy that Evelyn was dating was going into the army or something. I don't remember, but they would double date together. But that's how we met all the Kirkharts.
Okay.
And that was when I was in the 8th grade.
Moving on, you've shared some holiday memories and vacation memories and good and some not so good. Now we're going to move on to you specifically. We're going to go forward in time a little bit. And how did you meet Jake?
We were in the 8th grade together.
Okay.
And sometimes on weekends, we would go down, me and Delilah and Woody would, so I think Dickie went too sometime. And we would go down to Canal Point to swim because you could go you could go up on the dike in Canal Point, and there was a place where you swam. And we would the Kirkharts would be there, and the Streers would be there, and a whole bunch of other kids. And we'd swim there. So, with seeing his sister, and then knowing Jake, and seeing his younger brother and sisters at church. So yeah, I knew the whole. I never met his parents. I don't remember ever meeting, but I know that Delilah and Woody would go down there on the weekends because his mother would read their tea leaves. And I remember one time I wanted to go, and when Delilah got older and she went out with her friends, that was totally off limits for me. So, and I knew that. So she'd have these weenie roast in the backyard, and a whole bunch of her friends would be there, guys and girls, and they'd head off and walk down the alley, and I know what they were doing. They were smooching. And there was some grass, or it might have been fruit trees or something, and I would hide there and watch them. Delilah didn't know it, but what she don't know didn't hurt her. Oh, yes. I used to listen to him talk, but I wasn't allowed to go out there, so I had to hide. Don't you go out there and bother your sister. Oh, well. So that was, yeah, at a certain age, no, I didn't go with her, Woody anymore. Nope.
Right. Okay.
But I remember playing Spin the Bottle one time. Don't ask me where, but I do remember it. And it landed on, I don't know how that game really worked, but I remember I was supposed to kiss this guy, and we ran into this room, because you go in this room and supposedly you're supposed to kiss each other in there. And I think I said something to him like, let's say we did and don't. I wasn't going to kiss you. I don't know if I knew him. But oh yes, I can't even remember how I got there. And I don't know where it was.
Okay. So, where did you and Jake get married at?
We eloped. We got married in Kingsland, Georgia.
Why Kingsland?
Well, it was that or Woodbine. Because in Florida, you had to do a blood test. They tested you for syphilis. And it took 3 days to get the report back. So you had to wait. But the Georgia law, you didn't have to wait. You did the test, you had to do the blood test, but you didn't have to wait for the results like you did in Florida. So all you did, these little towns that was just over the state line, they had, oh my God, get married, no waiting. Oh, it was signs everywhere in those towns. And they were on the Well, now Interstate 95 is there, but you can still get off the interstate. But I'm sure Florida, I know Florida still has the same laws. I don't know about Georgia now, but anyway, I'm sure who knows. But, oh yeah, there were signs everywhere. No waiting, blood test, get married here, blah, blah. Oh yeah.
Now, what year did you and Jake get married?
1970.
1970.
70.
Now, now we know that you told us a little bit of the count of you going to, what was it, in Palm Beach College?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I went to college.
So what year did you finish up schooling there?
1969, I graduated.
Okay. So you had a lot going on there, sounds like it.
Yes. 1969. Bought a brand new car.
So what was it like when you told your mom that
We got married?
You were moving out, and what? Tell me that experience. What was that like?
Well, I had already moved out.
You had moved out. Okay.
Oh yeah, because I would once I started into nursing school and did the nursing classes, we had to do clinicals at the local hospitals, and we had to be there sometimes 7:30 in the morning. Well, forget the bus. The bus didn't get there till 9 o'clock. So I would take the car, and that meant I had to get up and drive that. And in the fall and spring, all those cane trucks on that road, that Palm Beach Highway, was atrocious. And I remember I would call the highway patrol, or Daddy would, when I was leaving, because I worked 4 to 12. And I would get off at midnight, call the highway patrol, and they would look out for me on the Palm Beach Highway. And then they would radio the sheriff that came to 20 Mile Bend from West Palm to look out for me. And I knew that I would be safe if the car broke down, because I had secondhand cars. So, well, I think I took Mother then, and then I got a car. It was an old Ford, oh God. But, and then once I had to go more than 1 or 2 days a week to the hospital, then I started, I had roommates, and we rented apartments over there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Right. So technically, I was living in Lake Worth on my own.
So what was your parents' reaction to, was it Jake or you that told them that you're getting married?
Well, I think, we both were together when we told them. It's just, they couldn't decide when they wanted us to get married. And I was like, because we wanted to get married, and I think the first one was in June sometime. No, we couldn't do that because they had to go to wherever up north. They couldn't do that. So then I said, okay, can we do it at Christmas time, somewhere, maybe the first or second week at Christmas? Because I thought that would be a beautiful wedding. Oh no, that's too close to Christmas. So then I was like, okay, so we talked about it again, and I said, well then how about October? Nope, Woody and Betty Ann won't be here. They have to go work in the tomato plants up north. Because once Woody would leave for wherever they were, New Bern or wherever, doing the summer crop with Daddy, then they would go on up and do the tomatoes up in Ohio, Indiana. And they wouldn't be home until, oh Lord, after Halloween. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is my wedding. So we were riding home one afternoon after we'd gone over to see Mother and Daddy, and we decided, let's go elope. So when Jake was going to drive Daddy's truck up, him and Mother were going to go in the car and go on to New Bern, and then Jake was going to take the truck up. So we decided that when Jake went by and picked up the truck at the packing house, we were just going to take off because I had my own car. So that's what we did. Unfortunately, my sweet older brother calls my dearly sweet sister. So by the time we got up there to tell my parents we were married, they already knew it. Because of my two older siblings' blabbermouths. Can't keep a secret from them. So anyway, but it was okay.
Oh, goodness gracious.
They knew we'd been dating for, my God. Oh, Lord, we started dating in the fall, I think. So that, and they knew we were going to get married. So it wasn't, I'm sure she wasn't that shocked.
Okay.
It saved her a lot of money.
Why did y'all finally decide to move to Lake Worth?
Well, I wasn't happy in Winter Haven. He wanted to move there because his parents were there. He spent most of his life trying to please his father, which never did, never would, never will. And so I didn't know anybody there, not one soul except
You're
his
speaking
family.
about Winter Haven.
Yeah, Winter Haven, Auburndale, because we got a small apartment in Auburndale. Well, we stayed with his family the first week, and I was like, this isn't working for me. We're getting an apartment. So Mother had sold a dog, and she sent me $100, and that's how we did the apartment right there in right there in Auburndale. And then I got a job at the hospital in Winter Haven, and Jake, he started showing his ass and staying out all the time drinking, and I got tired of that. So I think I don't know if I had gone home or what, but I loaded up Jay, and we headed up to Mother's, and he come down there following me. Well, I had gone to Miami with Mother and Daddy to see your Delilah. And so I was ready to just say, to hell with you. I'm done. And, oh no. So I told him, I said, we're moving back to Lake Worth. I've got friends there. This crap up here, I'm not taking it. So that's when we moved back, and
So it was a family.
Jay was, it was mine first. But then, yes, we were going back to Lake Worth. But Jay he was not even 2 then. So it was sometime around 1973 when we moved back to Lake Worth.
Okay.
Off
Edwards.
No, we lived in an apartment off 10th Avenue. Yeah. Because I know I think we bought the house in 75. Because I had lung surgery. And he was messing around with the lady at the end of the apartment complex. And goodbye. And he left me we were separated for 2 or 3 months. Yep. So I was like, no. So I had taken Jay to see him because he lived in some apartment thing there in Lake Worth. And so I was pretty much either, pee or get off the pot, because I think it was around Mother's Day. And I had gone back to work after my lung surgery. And we decided we'd try it one more time.
Right.
So that's when we moved to Mother's. And we drove back and forth to work, because he was working at the college and I was working at Good Sam. And we drove back every day, back and forth from Mother's. We did that for 6-7 months and saved money. And that's when we bought the house. It was in 75.
Okay.
Don't remember what the down payment was. I was clueless. But we got the house. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. We're going to fast forward
Okay?
a good bit. You've shared with us some milestones, some good, some not so good. We're going to fast forward to now. Okay? If this is going to be not so fun. But I think it's going to be necessary. what would you tell my mom, Delilah, about what you feel about what you're going through right now?
What would I say to my sister about me going through cancer?
Yeah, tell me your feelings and thoughts about that.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I'm being normal, but the only normal I know is the damn setting on my washing machine. Normal wash. And I've said that to teenagers ever since I worked with Dr. Lawrence. But I just want to be normal, Miss Kirkhart. Well, honey, that's the only normal I know is the setting on my washing machine. So you accept what it is. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. You know, you can scream and cry all day, but it's not going to make any difference. You just, you know, I've got to go and have my second treatment of chemo. I know that physically it totally wipes me out. I mean, my energy level is zip. And so I'm preparing today, you know, getting things ready, changing the sheets on my bed, because I know for the next week I'm going to be pretty much bedridden. So you have to take it as it comes to you, like anything in life. Sometimes I wish I could, I've tried to call her numerous times, but sometimes I wish I could call and could talk to her sometime, but, you know, life's life, and you've got to take it. I know that I've got to get my butt in gear and get the house. I've got to sell the house too, because I know the kids can't live here after I'm gone. So I'm hoping for a miracle. Dr. Tetro says I need a miracle, so hopefully the chemo will knock it to where I can live a few more years, but I don't know that. So I won't know that until May, June, I don't know. But, and finally my hair's falling out. I was waiting, like I told Mandy, I'm sitting here waiting for my hair to fall out,
Well,
and now it is.
I'm glad we recorded you with hair.
Yes, because next time I won't have hair. But I've got hats coming, so.
Thank goodness we can laugh at that.
Exactly.
I mean it really
But yeah,
is.
no, I told Mandy as soon as my hats come that I can wear them out. I don't care about around the house. I can be bald home. I don't have to wear a hat at the house. But it's going out in public. I really don't care for people to stare at me. So I've ordered 2 or 3 little hats to wear when I go out. So as soon as they come, I'm going to get Jay or somebody to cut my hair, to do it with the clippers. Okay. And that way it won't fall out in these long pieces. Okay. And it'll fall out in little pieces, which are a lot more manageable and won't stop up the tub. So no, you know, that was the one word my mother was deathly afraid of, was the word cancer. I mean, the woman thought she had cancer in her kidney, but she didn't. So, you know, you just take it as it comes to you. Okay. It's not any different than saying you're having a baby. Oh, well.
February the 20th, here in Havana, Florida. The house that you had finished, what year?
This house?
Yes.
95. I had it built
95.
1995. I moved out here, I think it was Friday the 13th, because I remember Mandy saying something about, or when I closed, it was like Friday the 3rd. I don't remember, but one of it was Friday the 13th. I said, I am not that superstitious. There's nothing wrong with Friday the 13th. It's just Friday the 13th.
So, what do you think your most important accomplishment thus far in life that you've done?
Raised 2 children. One of them I raised pretty much on my own.
Which one is that?
Mandy. 'Cause she was 8 when Jake left. She was just a little thing. and helping people, through my nursing career, making their lives a little easier than and a little more comfortable than they were when I first met them.
Now, when did you start, as you say, your nursing career, and when did you finish your career in nursing, or in the medical area? How long did that last?
Well, I've been nursing for over 50 years.
What first year did you start, and where?
I started in Everglades Memorial Hospital in Pahokee, Florida in January of 1963.
Now, where did you finally say, okay, I'm no longer going to be doing anything related in the medical field? What year and where was that you put that to rest, that chapter of your life?
I was actually still am, I haven't sent them in my resignation, working for LabCorp here in town. But once I was diagnosed with cancer, I knew that I could never go out there and do that anymore. So this year,
Okay.
or probably I'd say 2022.
2022.
Oh yeah, because I had stopped working for another company a couple of years ago, but yeah, I've just got to send in my resignation to LabCorp, and then I'll go on. This year or in 24, when I go to renew my license, I'll be retired.
What's a difficult thing that you lived through in your life?
You mean how many difficult things I lived through?
Just that question alone. When I asked you that, is it divorce? Is it something else? What is it something that you've had to give up, or what thing?
I think divorce was definitely the most difficult. When you're left with 2 children and you have to finish raising them, plus support them and yourself, it's very scary.
So that was a very
that was
time
very,
in your life?
very traumatic for me.
Okay. And in what way?
Not having a partner to help, with anything.
Okay.
Nobody to help pay the bills, nobody to help, pick up the children, take care of the children, nothing. You're on your own. You're alone in the world, period. And I think the other one was Jay's suicidal stuff and having to put him in a psychiatric hospital. And all of this was going on during my separation and divorce. It was like it kept piling on. It started with Mother's kidney surgery, and then Jake leaving, and it was just one thing after another.
Okay.
It's crazy.
If this camera was Delilah, and we briefly spoke that none of us know what's in our future. We hope and pray for the best, but if your sister was right here, what would you want her to know about herself and what you think of her? And then we'll just tackle that for right now.
I think both of us were looking for love in this world. Love that we hadn't been shown growing up. We both got the short end of the stick sometime. But that's what we were looking for, just to be loved, which is pretty much what everybody's looking for. Jay's home. So that's it.
Being that you're going through what you're going through, what are your if chemo doesn't do what it's meant to do, and you know that you're going to be meeting Jesus, okay?
Yep.
What is the most important thing that you want your sister to know about you, and what you think and how you feel about that, and possibly what she might think that you might be going through? Maybe any words of comfort, possibly. And I know it's a big subject, I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really good that you have the opportunity to share with her. What would you say to Delilah if she was here?
Well, I've always been a half glass full person. What is that? An optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I think I've got it right. So I'm going to have that miracle. And that's what I'm counting on. And if I don't have the miracle, then that's a bridge I'll have to cross. But right now, I'm counting on that miracle. Dr. Tetro said I had to have a miracle. I think I'm going to get one. Because I don't think God's done with me yet. I don't know what He has in store. I am clueless. But if the chemo doesn't work and the doctor says there's nothing else we can do, then I'll say, then enroll me in a trial. But I'm going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up.
Well, that's an awesome attitude to
And I
have.
know when God's ready to take me, I'll be ready. I might not like it, but I'm going to be ready. And I'll do like Jimmy Carter. I'll end up in hospice. Poor guy. But
He lived an awesome life, though.
but that's I'm not looking at the dark side anymore. I never have. I've always waited for the good to come.
Are you at peace with your life this far?
Oh, absolutely. I don't have any regrets. There might be some people that I would love to talk to, but things happen in the relationship. Like to know what happened. I've got a girlfriend that I never did figure out what happened, but I'd like to hear from another one that I haven't heard from in long, and we were friends for years, but I don't know where to find her. One of my old roommates, I'd love to find out where she is. I have looked and looked and looked for many years, and I can't find her, so I don't know. But no, I ain't give up yet. When I give up, I'll let her know. She will be the first one I call and say, Delilah, I'm giving up. But right now, I ain't giving up.
Okay.
Because I'm going to bloom where I'm planted.
I've heard that, and it's a really good.
It sure is.
It's a really great saying.
Yep.
And one that
I don't
I really do
have a
like.
clue. But I go down there, I pick me.
Uh-oh.
Shit, my chair just broke, Jay. Damn, Delilah, I just broke. My chair just damn broke. What the hell?
All right, well,
Son of a gun.
I'm going to edit that out.
Why? Oh, please leave it in, Derrick. Don't edit it out. My damn chair broke. Look at that. Guess I got to go buy me a damn new chair. No, I ain't going no damn where, because I'm going to wear out this other chair.
How would you want my mom to feel about you going through this whole process?
Well, she gonna feel whatever she feels.
I understand that, but what would you wish that she feel?
Just encourage me. That's all you can do. We're not gonna quit with this fight. Nobody, I don't think any of us, anybody that goes through cancer, they fight it as best they can because you just don't give up. I'm still looking at the half full glass.